From being an undefeated fighter with no marks on his record to losing his first fight, Jake Paul really doesn't seem to be having the best time right now. The question is, who's responsible? On Sunday, the former YouTuber lost his first fight in the ring to Tommy Fury. And to say the whole thing was a little dramatic would be an understatement, because before the whole thing went down, many thought Paul could defeat Fury. Well,
but everyone wants to see the fight between the Nate and I, and there's beef there. You know, I'm your bodyguard.
Just a waste of time. Why don't you just give the fans what they want? It's a waste of time.
I guess there's a first time for everything, right? But now that all's been said and done, there are those who are blaming someone who wasn't even in the ring. You guys already know what I'm talking about, right? The artist Drake, who allegedly staked $400,000 on Paul's victory, was one of his backers. Yep, the word on the street is that the God's Plan singer bet $400,000 on Jake Paul. And then, as many of you can predict, the man lost. The YouTuber turned boxer made light of his split decision loss to Tommy Fury on Monday by making a joke about being the target of the rather infamous Drake curse. Before the fight, the artist admitted on social media that he wagered $400,000 on Paul to defeat Fury via knockout, according to the New York Post. Well, if he only knew, right? So, how did Paul react to the whole thing? Post-match, when the fighter found out about the wager, he decided to poke some fun. The man cursed sarcastically and blamed Drake for his loss. He said that it was his fault, and the man went, "Why did you do this to me, Drake, brother?" But he soon snapped out of it and claimed responsibility. He laughed off the Drake's curse part and continued to say that it was his responsibility. That's not all though. He even apologized for failing the rapper. When it comes to the monetary loss though, the YouTuber claimed that for Drake, $400,000 is nothing. Besides, apparently he had already made much more money wagering on him than losing.
The concept in my mind of a graceful...
I guess that happens in the sport, you know. You gotta peak right at the right moment.
So this time around, they're just going to call it even. While that's a very well-balanced reaction to the loss and the wager, it doesn't do much to save Drake though. Even though the fighter claimed to get that win next time, will the Drake curse be ready and waiting then too? Let's see where everybody stands post-matchup. The Honestly Nevermind singer only had one of his 7 Super Bowl wagers win, according to the Daily Mail. Paul now has a record of 6-1 after suffering his first professional defeat. On the other hand, the 23-year-old Fury is following the path of his half-brother, the illustrious heavyweight boxer Tyson Fury, and furthering his professional career. Now about the rematch, the two will square off once more, according to Paul. If Fury prevailed, there was a clause for a rematch.
Out of his UFC contract?
He's done.
Interesting. I mean, I don't know, like I'm kind of tired of his combined record of opponents is 20 wins, 200 losses.
But Jake already has a promise to keep. Although after the battle, Paul acknowledged that Fury had earned the victory.
All respect to Tommy, he won, you know, and don't judge me by my wins, judge me by my losses. For this present moment, thankful for the opportunity. And
he also seemed to offer quite a few explanations. I suppose you just can't help it at times. Apparently, the former YouTuber feels uninspired there. In the camp, he got really sick twice and he hurt his arm.
I got sick really bad twice in this camp, injured my arm, and ready to implement the game plan.
Something he admitted in the arena as well. So he wasn't at his 100%, but at the same time, he claims to not make excuses. Instead, after the fight, Paul declared that he had already triumphed in life. That too, in every manner. So for now, he'll take it in stride and return. But was there another cause for Tyson's win? Well, not to be taking sides or anything, but during the battle, social media erupted with complaints. Apparently they believe that the referee was a little too involved. There was a lot of name-calling involved too. Josh Bunting, a sports journalist, described the guy as absolutely mental and insane. Even the MMA fighting news director Damon Martin talked about how the man was trying too hard to be part of the show. What do you guys make of that? Because according to the News Corp correspondent Jamie Pandaram, the referee was absolute rubbish. But Jake Paul wasn't spared either. The man's reputation was attacked on social media. Many users pointed out that his prior undefeated record was against amateurs and other content creators rather than full-time professionals. Carl Froch, a former professional fighter who now works as a pundit, was rather rude and even stated that Paul can't call himself a professional boxer.
Up trying to intimidate me, and when I was just looking at him like, he kept on getting louder and louder. Business partners, investors, editors, you name it, mascots. So it's not just me.
Froch declared that he was bringing disgrace and disgust to the realm of professional boxing and urged everyone to acknowledge that he wasn't really involved in the brawl. But Carl wasn't alone in this opinion either.
So it checks that off the list for me. He's just another stepping stone on my road to becoming a world champion.
If you want this fight, I'm here and I'm ready to go. There's no running, there's no playing, and it's fine if you don't want.
The journalist Philip O'Connor tweeted and asked if anyone told Jake Paul that the jab is a boxing punch that is remarkably effective. Charlie Edwards, a former world champion, also advised the former YouTuber to stop competing in professional boxing. Some even claim that while the fighter deserves credit, he needs to let go of the dream. The former world champion says that he salutes him for overcoming the pressure of being a new parent while under the spotlight, but he needs to keep his goal realistic. And by the goal, he means the dream of becoming a global champion.
The job on him makes me very happy, Man City.
It's a long time to be talking about one opponent, isn't it?
Hey, look, you dickhead.
Instead, according to Charlie Edwards, Jake ought to simply continue battling and collecting money. Liam Smith, on the other hand, had the same advice for both fighters. According to him, Tommy, because of his Fury name, should do better, but he should stay in the market with Jake and Logan Paul and all those misfits to cash their checks. So what do you guys make of it? Is it the Drake curse, or does Jake Paul only have himself to blame? Before you decide, let's talk about the curse some more. No matter who he bets on, the Toronto rapper has a history of influencing outcomes. But after just so many coincidences, even I have to ask myself, how true is the Drake jinx though? Is the multi-Grammy award-winning sportsbook truly at fault for the losses, or is he just a convenient fall guy? In 2019, when almost everything Drake touched failed, it felt like there was no denying it. Now, the basketball-specific curse has now crept into UFC, soccer, boxing, hockey, and even tennis. So yeah, it's safe to say that the people are concerned. The Drake curse, to put it simply, is the widespread idea that any athlete or squad who interacts with the Canadian rapper will lose their next match. Most frequently, Drake or the athlete will upload a picture of themselves online, but sometimes the curse is activated with subtle remarks too. For instance, even if the rapper sports a specific jersey, makes an appearance in the stadium, or basically demonstrates support for an athlete or team, yeah, they're doomed. That franchise will then run the risk of being cursed. His most recent target has been Jake Paul, who lost his first ever professional match after the rapper wagered on him. Many have fallen victim to this curse, but many have prevailed as well. There's a collection of individuals and groups who've also experienced wrath. But by the time we named everyone, he might have a fresh album out. The roster of those who have escaped the curse is much shorter though, but namely, Tyson Fury managed to win despite the odds. Could it be the Fury name protecting Tommy too? Now, you might be wondering if this is something you should carefully consider when following a matchup. I'd say to stop worrying and enjoy the ride. Have some fun while you're at it. But if you're really concerned, well, then the curse seemed to be at its peak in 2019. Right now, it's just a running joke, so relax. But stay tuned in case it creeps up again. That's all for Jake Paul, the latest victim of the Drake curse.
No, man. I think he was just really well prepared, and I think it was. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fight Night Circuit. Let's go. The goal of today's workout is